Last Guardian used to be a myth. Consensus was that the foretold successor to Shadow of the Colossus was long cancelled, until one day it re-emerged. This one took 11 years to make, folks, and it was worth it for the weekend that it spent in my PS4. The Last Guardian starts you off with spears in your side and armor wrapped around your neck. You're chained to a strange hole in the ground. Hungry, you try to get up, but you can't. So this strange boy brings you barrels and sets you free. You're badly injured, but you're able to get out of the cave. And now the duration of the title is about getting you back to full health as your damaged wings and horns recover. This feeds a nice progression system. You also develop an attachment for this boy who set you free. So even though you can't always understand him, he does his best to point you in the right direction. The combat's a bit tricky though, as the boy can't really defend himself. So it's going to be your duty to protect him, so he doesn't get dragged off by these suits of armor. And wait, no, that's backwards. You don't play as the beast, you play as this boy. And that's different. No, seriously, that would be like playing as...
You can call me Orange Lightning.
Wait, yeah, actually, yes. It would be like playing as Jack's shoulder-sitting companion Daxter. There's nothing weird about playing as this boy. In fact, it wasn't all that odd when Daxter got his own spin-off. But that's because it's not all that hard to imagine a game featuring this protagonist that is also a lot more conventional of this medium. What would that look like? Aha! Shadow of the Colossus! Shadow isn't exactly a conventional game either, but this moment tells you absolutely everything that you need to know about it. You are David, and this is Goliath. And your role is crystal clear. You will overcome. The Last Guardian doesn't define its leads like this. The boy is not David. He is largely defenseless, and he relies on the protection of the much more capable Trico. Trico deals with the guards, Trico makes the jumps, Trico saves the boy. These are the mechanics that we gamers live for. Meanwhile, the boy pulls spears out of fur. The boy pets his companion. The boy pulls switches. These are the little touches developers add to their games to add character and charm. They're there to make the side character feel useful. I mean, there's a different way that this could have been done too. You could board Trico like a pilot boards a Titan and assume direct control of his systems. This would give the player more control, dramatically increasing the amount of options that they have at their disposal. But Team Ico doesn't do this either. So I ask you, why don't you play as Trico? The Last Guardian exists to answer this question. I don't believe that there was a moment where the team even considered giving the player control over Trico like I'm suggesting. Because this is the thesis. Games have made very clear to us the value of playing as the beast, the decision maker, the one who allies beckon to with button prompts. Can games ever articulate the value of playing as a weaker character in a partnership? We understand the games that we play through the crunchiness of our punches and the progression of our status. That status in power, in society, numerically, whatever. The only reason games give you a weak character is to make the satisfaction of overcoming adversity far, far greater. The Last Guardian seeks to find a different value. Something more intrinsically rewarding than the eventual promise of more power. Admiration and appreciation. So let's take it from the top. In these first minutes, there's no trust between Trico and this boy. But here are the facts. He's not getting out of this cave without a little help, and neither are you. So you take control and you set about establishing some trust. You feed him some barrels, pull thorns from the paw of this lion, and you break his chains. Trico may be huge and powerful, but he still needs you in this moment. Now, all of that is functional. But what about when you turn this corner and Trico can't follow? And he starts to whimper. Then he starts leaping across these unsteady pillars just to keep up. This isn't functional. Trico can't fly yet, so who's to say that he would have taken this path without you? But he's definitely taking it now because of you. He definitely leaps into the water because of you. And this is where the bond between these two really comes from. It's not functional. It's not dependency. I'm not attached to Trico because I need him to push me over this ledge. In fact, these moments of dependency are where the game is at its most frustrating. He's not attached to me because I freed his tail. We're buds because I pet him before I go through a long platforming bit without him. Because when armored guards start chasing me, he goes after the one that's grabbing me first. Speaking of this combat, it's awesome. Because as I hope we all realize by now, games are a form of artistic expression that can offer more than a fun challenge. Trico does all the work here, and this is probably the greatest case that I can make in arguing that you are playing as the supporting character. If you played as Trico, the boy would still be running around in circles trying not to get grabbed. And when he does, you only have so much time to free him. As the game progresses, the boy figures out that he can pull helmets off of guards or jump on their backs to distract them. If you're playing as Trico, that's all very cute. At best, the boy is contributing about 10% of the work to the encounter. But what I love about this unconventional perspective is that you feel proud to contribute anything at all. Because what you really want is to help. But really, you're at your best when the fight is over. You pet Trico to calm his nerves, you pull out the spears, you groom his fur, and you clean off blood. And then the two of you move forward. The Last Guardian is trying to make a case for your role here. This world is full of stained glass eyes that stop Trico in his tracks. They don't knock him out or anything, they're a mental blocker that he cannot seem to overcome. The way he just goes nuts following a fight, there's no magic causing him to do that. It's his own nerves. By going off and destroying each of these eyes in the sky and calming him down after a fight, you're acknowledging his mental state is legitimate, and you're treating it with the validation that it deserves. You're helping Trico overcome it. When you encourage him to make these jumps, you're playing the role of a physical therapist. You know he can do it. I mean, it's a video game. But the thrill that comes with Trico's success, that's yours. And that crescendos into this moment, where Trico kinda eats you, and when he spits you out, the boy is limp. Trico carries him around looking for something, anything that he can do. I adore this sequence. You can't do anything, but the camera is still set like it would be if you were controlling the boy. You don't get control of Trico here, and this isn't a cutscene. There's nothing cinematic about this moment, and for that reason it doesn't feel scripted like this scene does, which played just before. It feels like you're watching Trico react organically to your death, as an animal, not as a script written by developers. The boy eventually gets up, but in this moment, Trico is afraid to go on. How will he overcome these stained glass eyes? How will he manage the toll that these fights take on him? And that gets answered here. When you push this eye over the edge, you're ambushed by an army of armor, equipped with glass shields to keep Trico at bay. They approach slowly, cautiously, giving you plenty of time to look for a solution to this puzzle that doesn't exist. You're grabbed and it's apparent that you're doomed if you're left on your own. So Trico backs up and charges at these suits. He decimates their numbers, and in a moment of triumph, the two of you make your escape. As the bridge collapses under Trico's feet, he slides into the abyss before opening his wings for a few brief seconds of flight. You climb these towers and you push Trico a little further each time. With each leap, he throws himself further until he lands on the highest tower of them all. You fight what lies waiting for the both of you, those guards that you took on earlier. And when you've wrapped up this fight, Trico's eyes go from bright pink to docile. For all the games that have tried to develop attachment to characters through dependency or function, this is the opposite. A moment of triumph. Independence, achieved through collaboration, a partnership born through support and gratitude. So who is the Last Guardian? This world is full of creatures like Trico, all decked out in the same kind of armor that you found him in. They're there to serve the white orb in the heart of the tallest building in the nest. This orb is what's controlling the guards, trying to purge the boy from their system. It's what's controlling these antennas that reclaim control over the Trico by resonating with their horns. It also keeps them subjugated by feeding an irresistible craving for this blue goo in the barrels in exchange for human sacrifices. So I ask you, what is your role in this story? You break Trico's chains. You feed him without calling for sacrifice. You destroy the orb that has controlled the Trico for so long. And you inspire Trico to leave the nest and fly. Time and again, you are giving Trico the strength to overcome the obstacles that he'd like to. You are the Last Guardian. Trico flies back to the village from which he stole you, crashes, spits you out, and surrounded by hostile villagers, the game gives you your last act. Send him away. Despite being only a boy, you're the one who nursed Trico back to health. You're the one who gave him the confidence to be independent of the mind control that he was under. And you did that by being patient, by being empathetic. And this is the only way that the game can end, with Trico going out on his own, free. You're the Last Guardian. This may have been Trico's story, but its unconventional perspective makes it a celebration of your role in it. Through empathy, we can empower others to punch above their weight. Through patience and presence, we can lead not by example, but by encouragement. By listening, observing, and practicing, we can get better at this. And as needed, we can wear our own vulnerabilities to call on support that can help us overcome what weighs on our shoulders. Support is not a zero-sum game. Empathy is not in exchange for strength. It is the creation that comes out of the deeper relationships that we build with the people that we care about. Thanks for watching.